Shalom. I want to give all praises and honor and glory to the only true God of heaven and earth, whose true name is Yahweh, and to his only begotten Son, the Messiah, whose true name is Yahweh Shai. And double honors to my elder apostles, my teachers of Great Millstone, and honors to all the prophets and teachers that carry the spirit of faith and truth within them. My name is Zechariah. Hear my speech concerning the truth, that is the word of the living God. Currently, you have a ceasefire deal with Iran and America for about 2 weeks. Now, Lebanon was included in this peace, this peace deal. But you have Israel that just recently attacked Lebanon. Basically, Israel have took the stand of, okay, if I can't, attack Iran, then let's attack, Lebanon. And that's basically the position that the small hats are taking. So they bombed Tyre in Lebanon, killing many people. And basically this is a form of the small hats, the small America. I ain't gonna say the I word no more, in case they restrict my video. But basically this is the little America breaking the ceasefire. Now this is which Pakistan had a help in this deal, this ceasefire deal, this peace with America and Iran. Now this is from the government of Pakistan. It reads, "With the greatest humility, I am pleased to announce that the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States of America, along with their allies, have agreed to an immediate ceasefire everywhere, including Lebanon." And again, what did this little America do? Bomb Lebanon. And they even issued an evacuation order in southern Lebanon, basically warning them of future attack. So, from a spiritual perspective, this will all lead up to this unjust dealing, this mischief that America and little America doeth, will ultimately stir up, not just the Carmenians, which have already been stirred up, which is Iran, but also the dragons of Arabia, which it tells you in the book of Joel, because this is, a channel that goes into prophecy, that speak right things concerning prophecy. I'm not just this is not no political analysis. Is rather a prophetic one. This is Joel chapter 2, Salaki chapter 3, verse 10. "Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears." And yeah, we're seeing the nations do that now. Basically preparing their military, their government, their people, and their weapons in case of a wartime scenario. Putting in order some countries put in an order, such as I think Russia, you know, on their young men to not leave the country for a certain period of, for basically not to leave their country for a long time, for a specific period of time. A draft, America, raising the enlistment age to 42. So the nations have been preparing in their different ways. Right, but this the point. It says, let the weak say, I am strong. So the weak will be stirred up. And we're seeing possibly the moments to that, such as the dragons of Arabia, which will be the position, or those who take the position of the weak, in this modern world. Let's go to the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, verse 28. Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east, and horror is coming, in the Middle East. And this is a fact. Horror is about to play out on this earth, and it's going to involve the Middle East. It says, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and a multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Also the Carmenians, which is the Iranians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boar of the wood, and with great power shall they come, and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. So Arab nations, military groups, along with the Iranians, they're going to take a stand against America and Little America in these future times. It says, and then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature. Now, what is the nature of, the Arabs? Let's go back to their ancestor. Ishmael. Genesis chapter 16, verse 11. And the angel of Yahweh said unto her, behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael, because Yahweh hath heard thy affliction. And he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. So that's the nature of the Arabs. So they're going to remember their nature. It says, and if they shall turn themselves, 2nd chapter 15, verse 31, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them. So there's going to be a gathering together, or an alliance between these Arab nations and Iranians. So the weak shall say, I'm strong. Now let's go into that word wild, as it says in the book of Genesis chapter 16, verse 12, that being their nature. Wild is from the Hebrew word.
Strong's H 6501. Pereh. Pereh. Second entry. Pereh. Pereh.
Which goes into a wild ass. Basically, it don't say it here, but what is a wild animal? Something untamable, basically. Something untamable. You know. Let's continue reading verse 12 again. It says, his hand will be against every man. So, opposition, So, what it tell you in the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 15 that I just read, it likens them to a wild boar of the wood, basically something untamable, Now, when it goes into Genesis chapter 16, verse 12, when it speaks about wild, I think, to correct myself, it may be more focusing on them being a nomad, being free, basically. Right, but 2nd Ezra chapter 15 highlights them being as a wild boar of the wood, basically. So they're going to be untamable. Being careful with my speech, got to be careful. But anyways, verse 32, it says, then these shall be troubled, bled, and keep silence through their power, and shall flee. So we're going to witness a failure, of America and little America in these coming times. No doubt. I'm reading this right now. It says, little America breaks ceasefire as usual. Little America is not only still attacking Lebanon, but just issued a massive evacuation order as they intend to intensify attacks. They insist Lebanon is in part of the ceasefire. All eyes are on Iran and Trump for a response. Trump have said this. This is breaking news. It says Trump says the Iran ceasefire is good, but if negotiations on a full agreement doesn't work out, the U.S. will go back to war. We go right back to it very easily. And that's what Esau is about. He's about war. The scriptures liken America to a hammer, to being a hammer of the whole earth. And it says that in the book of Jeremiah. So any form of peace is just a vain thing. Peace still is a vain thing. And this is why we really shouldn't be discouraged, by these moments of covert activity among, the nations. And to the world, it may seem as a good thing, peace or peace still, or, ceasefire. But to us in His faith, it's a cold period. We want things to be active as far as the Lord's prophecy ultimately. But we know everything is for an appointed time. His word, His judgment is inevitable and is steadfast, and it will be fulfilled without failure at the end of the day. So nothing comes with delay with the Lord. And even as far as, rebuking, this flesh and, and the strongholds of the mind of evil, when we see these different moments of things, going back to normalcy or, things of peace, things, going back, how it was instead of going into chaos, because we want the chaos. We want judgment. We want You know, because chaos, you know, it's really not chaos. To us is, you know, is judgment. You know, but the point that I'm trying to make is, don't say in your heart that the Lord delayeth his coming, that the Lord visions fail. Basically, don't have those thoughts. Keep on, you know, firm. Keep on firm on the truth, on the faith, on good, on life. Keep on firm. Keep on holding fast. You know. You know, no give provisions, as it is written, make not provisions for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof. You know, don't think for the flesh. You know, and the lust of the flesh. Don't think about these things. Don't think for these things. Because this time shall come where the Lord will execute horrible condemnation, horrible judgment upon the people. You know, and we want to be in that favorable position. You know? I'm going to close off in that, Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. I want to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Shalom.